Hello and welcome to Zawya Podcast. Our guest today is Liron Zaslansky, Israel's first ever Consul General in Dubai. Liron is a seasoned diplomat who has served her country in missions across the world, including in Germany, Brussels, and India. Welcome, Liron.
Thank you.
It's been nearly 3 years since the Abraham Accords were signed by the UAE, Bahrain, and Israel in September 2020. How has the accord changed the relationship between Israel and the UAE?
Well, I think the signing of the Accords was an historic moment that changed the face of the Middle East as a whole. It goes way beyond only the relationships between Israel and the UAE and the Israel and Bahrain. And it's a shift of paradigm that brings all of the Middle East into a new era of peace, era of understanding, era of dialogue. In between the country, if we're talking bilaterally, it brought us from no relationship at all into a new relationship, and a very wide relationship. And if I look at the first 2 years or 2.5 years that we are in today, you see the variety of subjects that we are talking about, the expansion of cooperation in everything, whether it's trade, tourism, culture, food, culinary, everything.
How much has bilateral trade between the two countries grown?
We finished 2022 with a $2.64 billion in trade, and that is without services, so the actual number is way bigger than that. And this is from nothing in September 2020 to a very large number and a very extensive number as well, which exceeded all of our expectations basically from last year. I remember speaking about exceeding 2 billion in 2022, and then we reached 2.64.
Oh, that is great. And what is the potential for growth in the future?
The estimation that the trade will exceed $10 billion by the end of the decade, and I think the sky is the limit. I think we only scraped the surface so far. The CEPA agreement between the two countries has went into force in the 1st of April, just a few weeks ago, and we don't even have the data of how it's going to affect. And basically the CEPA takes off 96% of all tariffs between the countries. It includes articles on rules of origin, protections of IP, which will bring a lot of certainty to investors. I suppose we will see joint development, joint R&D, and in 5 years from now we'll look at the 2.64 and we'll think, oh, that was a very small number for what lies ahead.
Israeli companies that are looking to do business here in UAE, what sectors are they looking at?
From the Israeli side, we see interest in almost every sector that you can think of. What we see is a lot of similarities between the market and the character of the market between Israel and the UAE. We see that UAE is proceeding very rapidly, especially we feel it in Dubai every day, to digital governance, to a digital city. And as digital as you get, the more vulnerable you are cyber-wise. So we see a lot of room for cyber companies to come in and collaborate with entities here in the UAE and in Dubai. Fintechs, anything ending with tech basically, agriculture, health, everything that you can think of. And we see it beginning. We see more and more companies being settled here in Dubai, opening shop, and not only to serve the UAE, but as a door to the region, to all of the MENA region.
Israel is well known for its innovative practices in agriculture and the ag tech. What kind of cooperation are we seeing between UAE and Israel in this sector, given that attaining food security is high on UAE's agenda?
Israel has a very long history of the development in agricultural high-tech innovation. It comes from Israel being a desert and the necessity to sustain ourselves food-wise. And if we go back, Israel was the first one to introduce irrigation, precise irrigation into the world. And here in Dubai and in the UAE, we see a lot of space for cooperation, especially because it's a desert, it's everything that we're doing for a while. And I think together we can take it to the next level, because also here the UAE is very advanced when it comes to agricultural technology. We went to see the vertical farming in Bustanica, which was very impressive. And I think slowly when you combine the two together, we can reach new heights. Recently we had a delegation of about 10 top agri-tech companies from Israel coming to Abu Dhabi in the forum of the I2U2 to explore innovative ideas and strategies, not only with the UAE but also with India as a third partner.
This agriculture, being self-sufficient in agriculture is one of the important goals for UAE. So this is something that will be very close to UAE's plans to be have sustainable agricultural production. So that is good. Israel and UAE are part of the I2U2. What is the rationale for the bloc? What has been achieved so far and what is the potential?
Well, I think I2U2 is a natural relationship between friends. India is a very close friend of Israel. I had the privilege of serving in India for 3 years as a diplomat, which I got to see a lot of the Indian landscape and states, and I was based in Delhi but spent a lot of time out of Delhi. And the UAE as a new friend and the relationship that is woven there, and you see the flow and the corridor between the three countries. If we go back to trade, for example, you see there's a CEPA now in force between Israel and the UAE, and there's a CEPA in force between India and the UAE. So you have a whole new corridor that opens up to businesses, that opens up to trade, opens up to cooperation between all parties. And I think when it comes to India, that has a lot of land and a lot of space, and the need for food security, not only in the UAE and Israel, but for all over the world. So you can see these three partners, along with the USA, of course, that can come together and create a better reality and food supply for the whole world.
There's a joint Israel-UAE R&D fund to support tech projects involving Israeli and Emirati companies. What's the size of the fund, and how many companies would you say have benefited?
So the fund is still forming. It eventually will be a fund for $100 million, 50 on each side, that will support technology and will support R&D. But it hasn't come into force yet, so it's still forming between the two countries, and I'm sure it will be done in the next few months, and then it will support everything that will be done together between the two partners.
As a UAE resident of many years, I can vouch for the fact that we love to travel. Has travel and tourism between the two countries increased substantially?
Oh yes, that's the biggest numbers. I think that more than 500,000 Israelis were already here in the UAE, and the Dubai airport is the number one destination for Israeli passenger traffic in the first quarter of 2023, with over 363,000 passengers, which is an increase of about 158% than the numbers of last year. There are about, I think, 12 daily flights between Dubai and Tel Aviv, and if you include Abu Dhabi as well, you reach well over 80 weekly flights between the two countries, which is amazing. And this is only passengers. When it comes to cargo, the numbers are also astonishing, and to see the very central point that Emirates has gone with a cargo transit between the two countries is also amazing, when Israel is being a gateway to Europe and Dubai is being a gateway to the Asia and the East, and the numbers are very much astonishing. We are still waiting to see the Emiratis go towards Israel. The numbers on the other way are much less, and Israel is very much waiting to welcoming all of Emirati and UAE residents into Israel.
And long may this relationship continue. Sadly, that's all we have time for. Thank you, Liron, for taking the time to talk to us. You have been listening to Zawya Podcast.